worked at a competitor hotel when the hotel opened 8 years ago, but back then I also already found the property really an interesting one. And then Thomas Cox, who is the managing director, came here, who I've worked with, I think 4 times before that. So he said, Ben, that's a great hotel. And I looked at it and it really seemed to be a great place to work. So great opportunity to make a sort of a change to the London hotel and food and beverage scene. So that's why I'm here. The responsibility for us is, of course, the first thing is always to make sure that our guests have a great time. So I think there's an operational element to deliver, excellent service, to deliver great food, and I think that's the main job that we all have here. Obviously, then individually, people have different tasks to do on top of that, and mine is then also to make sure that the team work well together, that there's a good strategy in place for the future, that the finances work, etc., etc. First of all, you need to sort of create a strong culture within the team that is able to deliver that. So there needs to be, it's a bit of a mindset. I don't think that a lot of the requests are very demanding. They're just normal in our world, at least, and I think that, we've trained our teams well. We put strong procedures in place that ensure that we deliver a very high level of service and that the food is great and the way that we handle things are done correctly. So yeah, so the way, obviously, there's different functions in the hotel. We have restaurants, we have bars. We also have an all-day lounge where we serve afternoon tea, but there's also functions like events and obviously in-room dining. And I think it's important that all these functions or all these outlets have their own identity, first of all, but also that they all sort of work well within each other, because for our hotel guests, but also for our residents who sort of, that's part of the building of the whole sort of Corinthia London. There's also residencies. They can also make use of in-room dining, but also of our events team to organize events in their private houses or in their apartments. But obviously, in-room dining has a big function in the hotel as well, which is sometimes a bit forgotten. Wow. Well, let's say if I think back, there's one thing, it's never boring. That's the first thing. So it's always an interesting experience. And I think that it depends who you work with. Here at the hotel, we're extremely lucky to have 2 chefs. So we have obviously Tom Carriage, but Andre Garrett, he used to run Michelin star restaurants himself. So there's 2 really lovely guys, and I think it has improved a lot. I worked with chefs that weren't always very pleasant. These 2 guys are amazing to work with, and it's fun. They are really passionate. They're very driven. There's a lot of attention to detail, and they produce delicious food. So it's good fun. We of course need to match also the service. The service standards need to be really high in order to match it with the high quality of food that comes out of the kitchen. So that's a good challenge. Wow, so that's there's no formula, unfortunately. I wish I would have it. I think it's a combination of a few things. There needs to be a strong food concept or food and beverage concept, but then it's also a question of the size of the restaurant, location, how it looks and feels, so the interior design. So I think all of those things kind of need to work together. And if you have a great concept, but you have a too small restaurant with not enough seats, it may not become successful at the end because your cost may be too high. So there's lots of variables, and I think it's really finding the right balance of all those variables that will create a great restaurant. But of course, deep down, it's a lot down to a great sort of product itself. I think, we are extremely quality driven. I think overall that's sort of the big overarching topic that connects all departments. That we're very focused on providing super service, but also the attention to detail within the service needs to be well thought through, and it needs to be there. But obviously that also relates to the kitchen, to the food, and to all the other areas. Is it front office, housekeeping? So that's a really important part of running a luxury hotel like the Corinthia London. Well, we have big plans here. You know, we have already one great restaurant. We're working on you know, strengthening the identity of all the other outlets in the hotel. So this is the Bassoon Bar, which is one of our areas that we want to build and make it more significant and better, and also the North Hall and the North Hall Bar. So it's, yeah, things happening soon.